Alright, so today we're going to talk about connecting the LifePaks up to the computers, which you're going to need to do on all 12 leads so that we don't have to print them out and do the old EKG form. You don't have to do this on any other type of report, but it's a good idea because it's really useful. First things first, we're going to look at the computer. We've got our PCR open here. Show you real quick what you need to make sure. So you're going to click in the bottom right hand corner right down here and make sure that your Bluetooth is on. It's hard to see on the camera, but you're going to see a little Bluetooth symbol. As long as it's highlighted blue, then you're good. Alright. Now on the LifePak. If you've connected this computer to this LifePak most recently, if that's the most recent computer that you've used, then it's going to automatically connect. What you're going to want to look at is the little Bluetooth symbol up here. If you've got a little blue light in that circle, then you are connected to the computer. You are connected to a computer, so usually it's going to be the only one that's in the ambulance. If that's not on, you want to use the wheel to scroll up to it and click on it. You're going to click Connect, and there's an option here that says Find Devices. Click on that. You're going to wait. It's going to search for devices. When the computer sees, when the LifePak sees a computer, its name will be listed right here. Right now it's just finding devices, searching for devices. It'll say down here on the status bar what it's doing. Then it'll obtain device names. And you see we've got HRT N PC, and this PC is the one designated N. Once you see that, you click Stop, you're done with the search. Then you scroll down to HRT N PC, click on it. It's going to say it's connecting. You can click the home screen at this time, and you can see now we have a little blue light on there. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, it's hard to see on the camera, but next to the Bluetooth symbol, there's a little blue light. That's how we know you're connected. Now what we've done here is we've done a 12 lead, we've done a couple vitals, and we've done a couple events, like epinephrine. You can do just general events, do a couple different things. When you're ready to transmit, over here just under the 12 lead button is transmit key. Okay, as long as you're connected to the Bluetooth, you're just going to click Send. All this is already set. Report all, site ESO, don't need to change any of that ever. Just click Send. Down here on the status bar, it's going to say attempting to connect, to transmit, transmitting to ESO, and then you'll see percentage. Since we did 12 lead, a couple of vitals, and a lot of events, it's a big file, so it's taking a while. Normally this will take less than 5 to 10 seconds. On a big file like this, it's going to take a little longer, usually under a minute. Right now it's at 25%. You will get a printout. Let me back it up here a little bit. You're going to get a printout when it's done. We're at 50. You're not going to see anything over on the computer while it's happening, by the way. You're going to have no indication. We're going to talk about what you do on the computer after this. %, 90%, and done. So you see we got a little printout similar to the printout you get when you do the user report. Printout just says, back it up here, transmission complete, site ESO, date and time, things like that, and where it went to, HRT N PC. Okay, don't need to do anything with that, you can toss that. Once you've done that, you can turn the LifePak off. You don't need to do anything else. The data has been stored on the computer. The next step is importing it into the ESO system. So right now we're on the Vitals tab here. Let's see if I can frame this just right. There we go. We're on the Vitals tab. Down here, Monitor Import. Okay, there's Add Vitals and Monitor Import. Click on Monitor Import. It's always going to be local. Since the data got transferred over to the computer, it is now stored locally on the computer. Click on Local. There's going to be a lot of cases. We haven't figured out how to delete some of the old ones yet. But it's always going to be the one up here at the top. You can see its date and timestamp, so 12/29 today at 09:42. It's going to be from a LifePak 15.
Good, thanks.
And you highlight it and you click Import. Alright, and it says 11 vital signs and 8 flowchart items imported. So we know that we imported some stuff. When we go into this menu, you can see that these are little hearts that say 3. Those are just 3 lead tracings. You can open them up. You can open the EKG and you can see it. This is our perfect normal sinus that our computer gave us. Also up here up at the top is a little red heart that says 12. That's your 12 lead EKG. And it imports it just fine. It has the interpretation up here at the top, all the different little like a QRS width, things like that, the auto stuff that it does, and the full 12 lead. You lose a little bit of resolution when you do this, which is why it's stamped not for patient diagnosis. You lose the little boxes, so by no means is anyone going to be using this to diagnose a STEMI, needing that 1 millimeter of resolution. But it is in the file, so we don't need to do that paper scan for Jill anymore. Also down here we have a couple of blood pressures that we took. SpO2, it does import the end-tidal CO2 if you had it. It's never going to do respirations unless you have end-tidal CO2. That's not a problem. You can go in and add an AVPU score to this. So you can go and do your alert and oriented at this point. You can do side position, things like that, so that you've got an AVPU in with your first vital that you want to take. So that's all the vitals that we imported. Over here in flowchart, you're going to see all of the things that it did. So the first thing, it marks when you did the 12 lead. So when I hit the 12 lead button over there and printed it up, it marked as an event 12 lead. I also put a couple general, so we'll talk about how to do events on the LifePak in a moment, but general comments is something that is editable, and you put in whatever remarks you want to do. Some people don't like to put specifically epinephrine on the dial. You'll see what it is, and so you just do general event, and then you can add in, oh, this was epinephrine. Or you could even change it. Go to edit. And put in exactly what you were doing. The provider, the medical control, patient response, things like that. For these drugs, we did actually just figure out how to configure them so they don't say drops endotracheal tube. They will have actually the dose, the normal dose for that medication, the, what we're using, so micrograms, milligrams, so on, and the route. The routes will be set to either IV, IM, IO, the normal way that you give a medication. So you can see we even have IV therapy. So IV therapy is just the start of an IV. We have intubation, oxygen. There's another option in there that says transport. You can mark the transport time. So over here we're going to talk about those events on the LifePak. So there's a little button here. It's right under options called event. So if you so choose, you can put an event down, and we've got a big menu full of options here, and at the end is more. You have even more. So normal things that you see, epinephrine. So when you give epi during a core, you just click it, bam, epinephrine's in there, it's time-stamped, it's done. Now since we already exported this data, it's not going to populate into here, but you do all this, the exporting of the data happens last normally. The first option in event is generic. That's your general comments, so you can put in whatever you want there. On the second page, there's transport. We're actually going to configure some of these because it still says morphine and dopamine and a couple things that we don't have anymore. Transport, so you can mark when you're doing your transport time. So a lot of people don't want to have the laptop open while they're doing patient care. That way you can do everything from the LifePak. Now, let's say that you got to the hospital, you had done a bunch of stuff on the LifePak, and somebody turns the LifePak off. It's a little trickier, but you can still transfer the data. So we're going to stop this. How to transfer after you've turned it off. When you turn it on again, it's a new event. So if I transmit right now, if I just hit my transmit button, it's going to transmit what's happening now. Now normally, I'm just going to disconnect these. So you can see the EKG is not connected. So we got nothing, just like when you turn on the LifePak for the first time after a call. So what you're going to want to do is go into options and archives. This ends the monitoring and closes the patient record. In here, the first option is send data. Now when you click on this, please be careful because it's set to default into all patients. Everything that's on the LifePak since the beginning of the LifePak's memory. Don't transmit all the patients. But when you click on which patient you want, send data patient, you can see the records are timestamped from when the LifePak was turned on. So we're going to go back to this one at 9:19. 9:42 was the one that we just transmitted over to the computer. So we're going to do a different report. 9:19 was one I did this a little bit earlier. Okay. I'm going to make a new patient record here on the ESO to make it like we didn't transmit anything yet. Vitals. Okay. So once you've done that, you got report all, site, ESO. Those are the same things that you keep, just the way that they are. Connection. This is where we're going to connect to the computer again. You got to do find devices. When you're in this mode, this archive mode, you will have to manually connect to the computer each time. It's not going to auto connect like it does in monitoring mode. But this only takes a moment or two. All right, so we see HRT NPC right there, stopping the device search. We see it here. It's the third option in the menu now. Don't mess with anything else. You're good. Just go to previous page. Because you are connected. It says that you're connected to the PC down here. So now we have the connection, and we send. Same thing, it's going to attempt to transmit, transmitting to ESO. You're going to see a percentage. This was also a big file with lots of events, and so it's going to take a while too. We're at 10%. Okay, almost done. Now, in doing this a few times, I'd like to mention that if it ever loses connectivity with the Bluetooth, with the computer, it will kind of freeze at whatever percentage it was and stop, and even if you reestablish Bluetooth, it won't connect it again. That's really not that big of a deal, because what you can do is just cancel the transmission. When you go into the transmit, just say cancel and then re-up it, and it will do it again. I've only ever had it fail once, and it was a really big file, so it took a while. But that is always an option. You can always just transmit it again. We got our transmission receipt here. Just like before, transmission completed. Date and time, patient record, archives, Bluetooth ID, where we're going. So this says archives, yes, because we had to go into the archives. This is the one from earlier that we did live. This one says archives, no. Wait for it to focus. There we go, archives, no. So, over here on the computer, it's the same thing. We've transferred the data. Now this is a new patient that I've made, so we've got, you see, no vitals. We're going to do monitor import, same thing as before. Local, it's always local. And it's going to load our cases. One thing I want to mention is that we're not going to see our case that we loaded a minute ago, the 942. It's not on the list here. Let me see if I can get a better view of that. Now, if I had done that record and locked it up, you wouldn't see the 942. We see it right now, but it will delete a record once it's been imported into a record and that record finished. It will make that go away. We do see the 919 one though. I'm going to click on that one. Normally it's always going to be the one up at the top because it's going to be the most recent. Import. And we've imported 17 vital signs and 11 flowchart items. So it works exactly the same on the computer side when you do it from the archives. It's just a little bit different on the LifePak. That is, start to finish, how you're going to transfer data. Again, you don't need to do this unless you have a 12 lead, unless a medic has done a 12 lead, then you do need to do it. It's a lot easier just in general when you do the vitals imported. You don't have to manually enter them in. They're all in there already. It is a little bit of treating the monitor and not the patient anymore if you're just sitting there and doing events all the time, or if you've got your laptop open, and that could be frustrating for people. But the idea is that this is going to make patient care easier. One final note is that this currently only works on the monitor labeled 286. We don't have it working on 87, 88, or 89 yet. We're awaiting some boards from the, some like microchip boards from the LifePak man. Should be happening mid-January. But for now, I'm going to be putting 286, I'm going to put the feet on it that sit in the mount, and I'm going to be putting it in the primary. If you are the medic coming on, just make sure that the monitor in your primary ambulance is the one marked 286. Other than that, we will send out a email once all of the LifePaks work, and we'll set it up again so that the LifePaks match the units that they're in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'll be happy to go over this in person with people when we get this live. We're still going live on January 1st, so if you have any questions, please contact me before that time. All right, thank you.